Alright, you guys, just holding the camera here in my hand because it doesn't want to seem to stay on the dashboard. But welcome back to another episode of Reality. Now, this video response is going to be directed towards these guys that are just fucking coming in their fucking pants over this fucking Balintawak bullshit. And yes, it is bullshit. Guys, it's technique based. Okay? It's pre-choreographed, where you'll notice when you watch these videos and you slow it down, there's a lot of achy breaky start and stop type of motion with these Balintawak guys when they're feeding the different angles and the different numbering systems at these people. It doesn't work like that in reality. Second, you're not going to find yourself in a fight with somebody where you're standing squared off like that, you know, like within arm's length with a short stick. It just doesn't happen. Okay? There's going to be trepidatious. There's going to be a lot of cautious movement where you got a guy and he's swinging. So you got a guy, he's staying just outside of contact range, and then he's waiting for the guy to swing so then he can swing. Okay? That is largo mano, largo distancia, long distance, long range, longhand. That is reality. At some point, if somebody gets the balls and they commit, they're going to crash right into grappling range, you know, and then you got fisticuffs going on and you're rolling around on the ground with a fucking stick. Okay? Watch any of these Dog Brothers sparring or full contact videos and you'll see, and not a single one of these videos are they pulling off any of this highly choreographed fine motor skill development bullshit, because it just does not apply in reality. You guys are suffering from delusional cognitive dissonance, meaning you have ascribed yourself to a reality and bought into this magic fairy tale that does not exist. Okay? Let me assure you, when you're in that kind of range, that stick is going to be rather innocuous compared to the power of a full power punch to the face, a headbutt, an elbow, a knee to the groin, a knee to the kneecap, a downward stomp. The stick at that point, honestly, is going to be doing the least of damage. You know, unless you really know what you're doing, or you know how to grapple with that. You know, you're pulling off, you know, the golpe, you know, the fucking, the puño strikes. It takes a minimum of a dozen years of daily training to pull that shit off. You know, again, the reality here is it's not going to happen. It's a similar fallacy, a technical fallacy to these guys that think they're going to pull off some complex, compound, trapping, Chi-Sao, Wing Chun shit in boxing range. Guys, it doesn't happen. I've been in a lot of fights. I live in a black neighborhood, and every now and then I gotta fucking get down with some fucking unrulies. Okay? These are situations that I can't walk away from, or I'm gonna lose face to the neighborhood. Okay? And then I'm gonna be singled out and targeted for bullying, harassment, assault, mugging, robbery, break-ins. So guys, I have to know how to fight, and my skills have to be relevant. I train regularly. I'm getting ready right now to go on a 10K run. After that, I'm going to be fine-tuning my basics. We're talking basic stances, blocks, punch, kick, you know, counters, basic combinations, you know, largo mano, speed and power rules the day. I'm a 200 plus pound fucking power lifter. I powerlift. I compete. I'm a national and world champion in natural powerlifting. Not that that means anything, but I can assure you, when I'm swinging these sticks full speed, full power, you are not going to want to commit to a closing action. It's just not going to happen. If you take a step, I'm going to see it and I'm going to adjust. I'm going to read it every time. So if you don't have the kickboxing skills, the stick boxing, you don't have the largo mano with the long range, forget about it. If you're not training combinations with the stick at long range like a boxer or like a modern day gladiator, forget about it. You're not going to be able to pull it off. It's just not going to happen. You're going to drop the stick. I've seen it happen a million times. All those coordination drills, all that fine motor skill shit, it goes right out the window within a few seconds. You're going to have tunnel vision. And again, if you're not used to violence, if it's not your comfort zone, if you're not comfortable with violence and being violent, then it's just, you're not going to pull it off. And again, hate to break it to you, but no amount of sparring in the world is ever going to prepare you for a street encounter. It's just not, because there's an unwritten silent agreement when you're sparring that you're going to respect each other's range. That doesn't happen in the street, guys. It just doesn't happen. You know what's going to happen if you try that Balintawak bullshit with that media corto crap, that corto serrata shit? You're going to get your fucking head caved in, okay? You're going to get a broken hand. Your arm's going to get all mangled up and broken. And again, hate to break it to you, a lot of you weekend warriors out there, you seminar guys, think that, you know, you're going to be able to continue with a broken hand or a broken arm. I can assure you, from being there and having done that and having a severely broken arm that was reconstructed recently, you're not going to be able to continue. It's just not going to happen. It's the same thing if one of these catch wrestlers gets you in an arm lock and literally twists your fucking arm apart. You are done. You are not going to continue. If you get kicked in the fucking groin and poked in the eyes, you are fucking done. I don't know why people want to continue to debate this shit. You guys, stop focusing on the overly technical shit and get back. Yeah, sorry about that, you guys. The camera actually timed out and I lost my flow, but you know, I'm getting ready to go on my 10K run here and pretty fired up. I've been doing a lot of powerlifting, a lot of running, a lot of deep stretching. You know, I'm not quite ready to kick yet, but I am getting there. You know, I'm still working on my splits. You know, working on just like some hardcore, fast, deep, penetrating combinations with my boxing and my JKD. I need to find a place where I can start doing some catch wrestling again. You know, because going to a seminar once a month, once every other month is just not going to cut it for me. But, you know, again, a lot of what I do, guys, it's hardcore strength and power training, hardcore resistance, cardio. You know, I'm doing a lot of JKD right now, a lot of traditional kung fu, a lot of traditional karate, and you know, that's what I'm doing. You know, and you know, again, everybody's like, you know, with this MMA shit. Well, listen, I'm not everybody else. I don't want to be a cookie cutter with this Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, wrestling, judo blend that everybody else is doing. I'm not everybody else. You know, and quite frankly, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I would probably just box. You know, maybe a little bit of some judo or some wrestling, some catch wrestling, because pretty much everything else out there right now, it's just bullshit. But, yeah, guys, Largo mano rules the day. Speed and power rules the day. Technique is secondary to targets and tactics. Okay? Technique is, it's going to come into play, but you have to develop skill in technique. That's where your tactics are going to come into play. I'm looking at targets. I'm looking at, taking a guy out immediately. Eyes, throat, groin, knees, so on and so forth. The golpe de mano, the hit to the hand, closest target, nearest weapon, that's what I'm looking at. Anatomical weaknesses of the human anatomy. You guys are you're missing the boat. You're overly technical, with this cheese sal and Balintawak shit. Because that shit, it goes hand in hand. It's technique. You guys are training purely technique. You got to get out there. You got to train like a fucking gladiator. Okay? You got to run. You got to jump the rope. You got to hit the car tire. You got to fucking hit the heavy bag. You got to lift weights. You have to develop your strength and your power. You got to develop resiliency in the body to damage. And you guys you're not doing that. And that is honestly the one thing that I think that, that the modern day training has to offer is these guys, they are conditioning experts. You guys are making up your trouble. You're making a poor attempt at making up for a lack of strength training and proper conditioning work with technical work. And you just don't seem to understand that fine motor skill degrades very quickly. It's arbitrary in a real fight. It just doesn't work. What I do is real. What I teach is real. 90% of what I was taught, I have just discarded as useless and thrown it in the trash. Including most of the Filipino shit, the Chinese shit, the karate. You're left with that 10% of just raw basics. And that's what I focus on. And that's been my primary domain for like the last decade or so. And it's hard. It's grueling. It's monotonous and somewhat boring. Nobody wants to train like this. But I'm telling you guys, basics are the gift that keeps on giving. I trained under Guru Luel Yedo. Amara Arcana System and Praxion. Okay? This guy taught me 4 classical systems and probably at least a dozen different styles and systems. But he always focused on the basics, the abecedario. You guys don't do it, and you need to. And now that he's dead, they said it died with him. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. I'm keeping it alive. And honestly, out of all the dozen or so, the doses pares, the 24 pairs of us, I might be the only one who is still fucking doing this shit. And I'm keeping it alive, and I'm looking for people to teach the real fucking shit. Because everybody else out here, they're just running their fucking mouth. I've been to easily a dozen dojangs in martial arts schools just in the last 2 months, just looking for a place where I can get down. And none of these places are doing any basics. Okay? It's bullshit. So, again, and I've said this before, if you ain't hardcore, you ain't shit. You have to be hardcore with your foundational basics. Or, again, I'm going to see it in your movement. It's going to be immediately obvious to me whether or not you have a complete total mastery of foundational basics. This Balintawak, and I hate to break it to you, a lot of this Filipino shit, they don't have any actual structured basics. That's what's fucking wrong with it.